YouTube? Welcome back to UniXDBS, and it has been a little bit since we've been on the channel, mainly because I've been away at Nats. I'm not at the point in my YouTube career where I can just, splurge out on a laptop, bring it with me with all my editing stuff, and just do stuff there. So, yeah, we had to go kind of a little bit of time without being able to put up content. That being said, I had a great time, and there is a lot coming in the upcoming week, maybe even 2 weeks. I mean, I've got this video coming out. I've got some stuff based on the spoilers we got. I got some stuff that I want to go over, like, the time rules, and, because it's not just going to be a straight up negative video. There are some things that I want to address with it, for sure. There's a kind of vlog, like Dragon Ball Super 2021 Nationals, the movie, that I'm going to be putting out. There's a lot of stuff I have to work on now that I'm back. But I wanted to get in there and at least talk about the tournament and how it went for me. So yeah, before we get directly into that, I just want to put out the normal stuff. Please, if you have a spare moment, take a drop by the official Facebook for the card game. The link will be in the description, as it always is. And then also try taking a look at the community group where I'm going to be posting this in. There's just so many topics that are going to be around. You also have UniXDBS, which is the group that I manage, as well as our Discord that's going to be in the description as well. All great places to go. And last but not least, I'm going to direct you over to TCGMetalZ because they are amazing. They make amazing product. And if I saw anything at Nationals, is that quite a few people had metal leaders. In fact, one of the head judge even bumped the metal leaders while we were, explaining that we couldn't use them during Nats, but he was saying how cool they are. So you can go over to TCGMetalZ and check that out. And if you're in the checkout, just use the code UNIX, that's UNIX, to get 10% off your entire purchase. So now that we are past that, I'm gonna go pretty much directly into my deck choice. I don't think I need to go into what I actually played, but if you would like to see it, let me know in the comments. If this video gets up to 50 likes and people in the comments let me know they want to see what Gohan U7 list I took to Nats, I will do it in a separate video. But for here, just to kind of trim down the time, I'm just kind of going to give you the cliff notes. I did go in with U7 Gohan. That is because, one, I felt like I wanted to prove a little something with that leader. At least I wanted to make sure I had the best record with it. But also, actually, for the format, there were a lot of things I liked with it. Against Cell Surge, the deck is able to put out a lot of aggression, and frankly, unless you take away all of the cards in my hand, I can still build up a couple cards the next turn, simply because Gohan's able to cantrip. A 1-drop could lead to a normal, which could lead to a swing, which leads to 2 more cards in hand, which leads to, yeah, that's just kind of how the deck works. 2 more cards in hand, you play a challenger, you play Divine Presence, that Divine Presence comes out, you swing. So generally the deck has the high ability to blitz Cell Surge going first and going second. And then if you can't get through to a certain point, there are times where you can kind of rely on your draws and try to outlast those 2 turns. So I really was comfortable with my Cell Surge matchup with that deck. And then against Soul Striker, I still stand by that being my best matchup. It's just like, if I win the die roll, I can go so hard on them before they can even establish hatch, to the point where they're fighting for their lives. And there is something funny about that later in the video. But yeah, I love playing in Soul Striker with this deck. Now, Icarus is the indeed uphill battle, mainly because of power of the Super Saiyan. Power of a Super Saiyan. In the same battle that you are playing Divine Presence, they can play Power of the Super Saiyan for free and tap your Divine Presence, and then follow up next turn with a devastating turtless. So yellow is the hardest matchup by far. However, yellow isn't unwinnable against red. Yellow, you just have to actually think a lot harder. Red has access to Crown, and yellow can get caught by Crown quite a few times, but you also have the pressure around Divine Presence to work with. You have the ability to mitigate the field and keep clearing it so you don't take as much damage, and you also have the access to run Fu and live long enough to get there. So this deck, I still felt like if I faced the meta, it would have some pretty good outcomes. But yeah, sometimes things don't go as planned, and that kind of hurts. But I'll tell you how the tournament went for me. Round 1, I actually had a bye. I did not know that winning Gen Con would give me a bye, so I just didn't see my name on the match result thing, and I was like a little shook. I was like, why though? And that was a little scary. But once I got that sorted out with the judges, I realized I had to buy. So I chilled with some Team Crossworlds. It was actually pretty cool. We just went to a diner. Shout out to Joey Palladino, Danny Wynn, Frank. And we got joined by Marcel a little later. But yeah, like it was pretty cool. And then I think I actually saw Kintarsi a little bit too at the beginning. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just cool to chill with them. We just looked at the Trunks leader a little bit, which I'm going to be making a video about later. So yeah, holler at your boy, because I've been looking for that for a long time. And then we went in back to the convention center. Round 2, I faced Sin. And if you haven't faced Sin yet, Sin is a very unique enigma because Sin can play a multitude of different ways. You can play more mid-range Sin, you can play an in-game Sin, you can play an aggro Sin, and there's no way to know which one of these Sins you're facing until you're a couple turns in and you start seeing the cards they're playing. So I played against Sin, and I lasted a very, 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 very long game 1. I thought that I could maybe get up to the point where I could maybe foo them, but game 1 was a very, very close game. Otherwise I would have scooped early to conserve time. Couldn't get there. Shout outs to the dude. And then I ended up going to game 2 and got caught a little bit by the time rules. Now granted, 1 tie on your record is pretty good. 2 ties is where you start kind of hurting your own record in terms of placements. And then so you're kind of in a weird space, but I was the last turn of game 2, I went into it with 2 Divine Presences already on my board, my Unison, my leader, and I think a Yamcha Merciless Barrage. My hand had 3 super combos in it, as well as Supreme Kai of Time, as well as another Divine Presence. I had like a grip of like 14 cards strong. So he had 3 30k blockers, and the plan was going to be to, the moment he's blocked with the Revenge one that kills things, or negates things when they come into play, I was going to put like 2 super combos on it because he only had like 6 cards in hand. That would have killed that, allowing me to play my Kai as well as my other Divine Presence on the next swing. Since he only had 3 life left and 6 cards in hand, I'm going to assume that another Divine Presence and Kai, on top of the fact that I already had 1, 2, 3, 4 swings. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 swings outside of the Kai and the new Divine Presence. I'm pretty sure I was going to be able to get rid of that 3 life. But when I went into that turn, my combo power was my time left on the clock was literally 37 seconds. So there was no way I was doing that. So I just, like, I played Foo, I think, and just literally passed. Like, well, I didn't think I played Foo, I just attacked. But there was no way to get through all that comboing in 37 seconds. So time rules kind of screwed me there, but I understand why they're in play. Like I said, there's gonna be a separate video talking about the time rules and their impact. Moving on to round 3, I played against Vegix. And also I gotta give a shout out to all the people that just showed me love at Nats. There's only 1 match I sat down with and a person didn't let me know that they enjoyed my content or knew of me, and that was really warming. Like it lit a fire under me to make better content more frequently, because I just didn't know how far the reach was. So thank you guys once again for just kind of doing that. But yeah, game 1, it was black pressure versus red pressure, and I was able to come out with the game 1. Game 2, it was once again black pressure versus red pressure, and he was able to come out with it. Game 3, we just kept pushing up against each other, and then once the time got low, I just became defensive because I was chilling at like 5 life after awakening to his 3, and it's like he was playing well, but again, the time, like just the way the time is currently working, that is the way the cookie crumbled. I was able to wall up and just keep my life up. So there was that. Round 4, I played against Jerry Bishop with his Hatch, and this was kind of a bad point for me because I had never played against Hatch before. Like, I'd seen some games being played, but I stopped playing from set 7 until set 11. So I don't really know. I didn't play any of the multicolor block. Set 6 was the last set I bought from before them. So I really didn't know what Hatch did, and I didn't practice against it enough to know the finite parts of it. So game 1, I won the die roll, and I was cruising my way up to Hatch. Up to Foo. I opened up Foo, I kept it, just kept rolling. Now what happened was, I know that I always felt like, okay, well, my deck could probably do something because Divine Presence is dual attacking with my best card. So he can swing twice under, Hatch's leader effect. But there was a turn where I played Supreme Kai, And I thought that because I didn't read correctly DMV Curse and Noob Curse, I thought that Hatch only activated upon a lower battle card swinging. So the play was to swing with my Yamcha, combo it up to 30 to make my overwhelm for Fu, and then swing with Supreme Kai of Time. To hopefully getting the damage is 40k, he was tapped out, and that would allow me to next turn windmill Fu down. Instead, because I swung with Kai first, and then that prevented me from swinging with Yamcha, I had no more attacks left, except the one he negated off my Unison. And then I had to, next turn, swing, get Oceanist, and through Oceanus, my Piccolo destroys Oceanus, my Piccolo Unison, and through Oceanus, I had to swing again, mill 4, combo 1 to get to Fu, and then I could play Fu and then start swinging, but that allowed me to only be able to do so many attacks under Fu, and that was just really rough of me. I messed up hard, and that one mistake cost me game 1, because if I had let the Fu go, I would have had a board that was not, like, Hatch wouldn't be able to do anything with all the negates in his hand. So game 2, we went through it. He was able to keep pace. I crowned him like 4 times. It was just a pretty, his deck was doing what it was doing, but my side was doing what it was doing, and that was kind of rough. In the end though, he was able to put his Kai down, and he didn't remove it off the field, and then he put a Deadly Defender down, and that ended game for me because I had him at 1 life, and I was going to play the Vegito Unison that I sided in to burn him from 1 to 0. And I had it in my hand, I was holding it, but I was not able to get his Deadly Defender off the board. And his Supreme Kai didn't feel the need to warp after he was done with his swings and realized he didn't need to warp my field. So shout out to Jerry, that was tight. Time got called, he had higher life than me, or time got called, he had won game 1, and so that was it. Round 4, Xeno Sin. This, I don't remember too much about this match, it was just a lot of effects resolving. But of course, Divine Presence can't get removed on my turn, and there were some things. Game 1 was able to get pushed through, and game 2, the things that scared me most were actually the hazy Xenosin, well, hazy Shenron. So I just sided in my Vegeta Resolve Renews to make sure that I could keep crowning him for Oceanus, Resolve Renewing for Oceanus, Resolve Renewing if I felt like I was going to get that 3-drop dropped on me. That was just pretty much it. Yeah, same thing, pretty much game 2. Now we've got a round 6 Soul Striker. So this is actually pretty funny because I got 2-0'd by Soul Striker, and it's my best matchup. But both times it was not like a crazy landslide. It was actually, I felt in complete control until the very last turn of the game. For the first game, I just rushed him super hard going into my turn 3, his on 2 energy because I won the die roll, and I got him down to like 3 health, and then on his 4th turn, or his next turn, he hatched me, so I had 2 paws, defend myself, and then on my turn 5, him with, you know, his 4 energy, I pushed through all his defenses. Like, I got Sensu'd, I got D-Magic twice, and I finally got 1 attack through. He was tapped out, he had 0 cards in hand, but he did have a board at this point, and I swung with my leader, or my Unison to his leader. He picks up his 1 card from life, he's got 1 card in hand, and I was like, alright, better not be a negate. And then I played Piccolo Jr. and swung, and he Sparking D-Magicked me. So that 3rd life with 0 cards in hand was Sparking D-Magic. That was all the turn, all the swings I had that turn, and next turn he just turned his board sideways and shipped at my life, and I got blitzed. Like, so that was very, very painful. And then game 2, we had a game where I was at 4 life, and I was pushing through a lot of his stuff, and I did get hatched. I definitely got hatched on there. Well, no, game 2, sorry, this went to game 3. Game 2 was like a foldination. I went first, I like folded him in like 8 minutes. No offense to the player, it was just like, look, again, my deck does really well against Soul Striker. And then after game 2, that only took 8 minutes, and then we moved on to game 3. So game 3, I'm going second again. I'm going into his life. I got him down to this time, what? It was either 2 or 1 life. I really cannot remember, but he did hatch me on turn 3, my turn 3. And then The last turn of the game, I got Sensu twice, I got D-Magic, like there was Kefla coming out. It was really, really wild. So on my turn, I hit the max power Kamehameha to get his Kefla off the board because, you know, no blocker. I end up swinging in. There was a whole bunch of stuff, and I could not break through to his last life, and that was rough. And so on his turn, he got to untap with the new Kefla he had played. His Baby Hatch, his Unison, he had to go Vegeta Unison. No, it was Baby Unison. His leader, and then there was one more thing, the Tapion, the double strike Tapion. I only had 4 life. When I say I was twerking to survive, I mean it, man. Like, he swung with Kefla, and I just immediately took the double strike. I went down to 2. He swung with Kefla again, I fought it. He swung with Tapion and couldn't combo because his hand was so low. I end up, because I pushed most of the cards out of his hand. I end up, or he put 5k on it to make it 25. I used the +0 from Frieza, then I Spirit Boost off of Frieza to make my leader 26. He swung with his leader, I out comboed that. He swung with his like Unison, I out comboed that. So he had 1 card left in hand, 1 energy up, and he swung with Hatch, and I have 2 life. And I'm just like, is he just trying to push for 1 damage? Is he just trying to, so I can't maybe cob him? Nah, it was Champa. So I got knocked out, and like I said, both of those games, like I felt completely in control until the exact moment I got domed. So that was just really crushing because I breathe a sigh of relief when I face Soul Striker with U7 Gohan, and it was just really crushing to take my 3rd loss to this deck. So that kind of sucked. Round 7, I faced Monkey Gohan. Monkey Gohan can be a very hard deck to pilot. I've seen it piloted in the hands of Amani. And speaking of Amani, his Majin Buu top 16 deck list will be up the next couple days, so keep an eye on that. But it was really rough to face because it just kept flipping and drawing and untapping and maintaining a great attack value, so it was hard to swing on it sometimes. But both the games were just more or less grindy. I never felt like I was in danger of dying, but it was really annoying to not have half of my plays go through the way I wanted to, just because battle math and whatnot. Then the last one I played was Icarus Gohan. Nick and I had a very long talk about how to use Fu in the red decks, and we also kind of got to a point where we realized that, of course, Vegeta is just so much better at playing Fu. You stay 15, you can negate attacks in your Unison, you can untap Awaken 2. So when you play Fu, in some of these ideal conditions, you can play Fu for 6, untap 2, and then play Divine Presence on top of it. I can't do that no matter how I cut it. So I end up trying to build a board with my Yamchas, my Surprise Attack Gohans. If I can stick a Divine Presence, I can, but sometimes against Yellow, that's just not a possibility. They will tap it and blow it up. So I built a board, and then the moment I got to turn like 5, I kept my energy open. I Yamcha'd him, I played some other stuff, I hit him with Violent Rays, and then next turn I Fu'd him. It was very unfortunate. He was a little upset because Fu is really just such a game ender for Yellow. Like, you have to have the blocker monkey like counterplay, or else you're just gonna be taking so much more damage. So I Fu'd him through his poutine, and then I just was able to swing him out right there. Like, he just literally saw me do the first swing and looked at my cards and hand and scooped. Game 2, I have to give credit. Icarus is not an aggro deck, but he walked me down. He was like, I am not losing the time, and he walked me down. So shout out, dude. You told me you watched the content. I applaud you. You turned Icarus into an aggro deck for game 2. For game 3, I applied pressure, I awakened, but I held my life at 5. I think I only went down to 4 on the final turn he could attack with testing the op. And I definitely pretty sure I Violent Raised him once for battle cards, but Violent Raised him again for a Unison. It was something like that. It was unfortunate, but time was pretty much, we were in turns, and I just made sure I kept at 4 life after dropping him to 3, and that was kind of it. So I ended the day 5-3, and time rules are kind of weird. Like I said, I'm going to go into a whole video about that, so don't worry. But they were there for a reason. Draws are very odd in this game, and they were happening far too much, and it was really messing up the way the tournament is. and it even benefits some people weirdly, and it makes other people in a weird spot. And it like my Gen Con win is only because I didn't have a tie on my record. If I had a single tie on my record, there would have been 5 people above me. It's just, there's just crazy things like that. So that's just pretty wild. Now the levels of practice also needed to be upped. You guys have seen in other videos, if you've been keeping up, I've been going through a lot of personal stuff, and my levels of practice were not there. And so it showed with like matches like Baby Hatchiac, or not Baby Hatchiac, Normal Hatch, where I didn't realize the leader effect worked the way it did, and that cost me game 1, which pretty much against Hatch means it costs you game 2 as well. The format, these are all things I'm going to go into in a separate video, like the format and the time rules. I really do feel like it's kind of weird. There's a lot of variables, and then the gap between the rest of the decks and the most powerful deck is way too high. So that's just stuff we have to talk about. And then the amount of people that came to California with the spice was real. A lot of people weren't really playing the meta deck, and once you got to the upper echelons, that was pretty much all you were seeing. So that was pretty crazy. Closing thoughts. I thought this event was monsters. This is what I'm gonna actually get into in the video, because the other stuff can all find its place in a different video. Like I said, that's why I put the deck profile if anybody wants it. Like I said, 50 likes. Let me know in the comments you want to see the Gohan deck profile exactly, and I'll show you what I played. The reason why I wanted to keep that out is because this video is already meaty, but the things I do want to put in here is that the Nats experience was amazing. The judge staff, amazing. The hype, amazing. And I love the Bandai did in terms of reaching out to players and content creators they knew were about it to help. They got, Stage Zero. Brian from Stage Zero just out here doing the whole stream. That's amazing. They recognized his work and they got there. They had Aspira doing commentary because they know he's about his stuff and he's knowledgeable and he can do that like blow commentary, and they put him in there for that. They reached out to some of us to give some midstream, little blurbs. They really did their job, and they used the resources necessary, and they made the community feel incorporated. I have never been to a card event in my years of Magic nor Yu-Gi-Oh! That felt as good as this one in terms of how well it was put together, in terms of just the engagement. Now, the time rules, whole different story. But as far as that, Bandai, wonderful. I even put some spoilers for the next set in there. There's so much. But I don't want this video to get too much longer. It's already 22 minutes and counting. So I just want to let you guys know that's how my tournament record went. Things you can see on the agenda. I've got the Nats movie coming up. That's going to take a little bit to edit, a lot of it to edit. Amani's 14th or 24th place boo list is going to be up on here. We're going to have a talk about the time rules, the format, and what people are kind of running. There's a lot of stuff we're going to get into this week. We're going to have a video about Super Saiyan God Trunks being spoiled and what he can do. We're going to have a video about the Goku now that we've seen his front two. There's so much to get into. But that being said, I am very, very happy that you guys have tuned in. I'm happy for all the support, and hopefully we keep getting it. And yeah, let's work on a couple of things. There's so much stuff on the agenda and I just cannot wait. But this channel about to be cooking. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys the next time you decide to join Universe X. Later.